The majority of men navigate their interactions with women while being completely deaf to the subtle shifts in conversational frequency. They listen to the words, but they miss the melody. They see a woman talking and assume she's just filling the silence or being polite, when in reality, she is carefully laying down a bridge for you to cross. This lack of awareness is where most potential connections die. When a woman moves beyond surface level chatter, the weather, her job, or general gossip, and begins to steer the dialogue towards specific, intentional, and weighted subjects, she is no longer just talking. She is conducting a high stakes audit of your character. She is checking to see if you have the depth to match her, the awareness to notice her signals, and the masculine presence to hold the space she is about to open. You have to understand that for a woman, emotional safety and attraction are inextricably linked. She will rarely come out and hand you a map of her feelings because that puts her in a position of extreme vulnerability. Instead, she uses these silent signals to test the waters. She throws out a deep topic like a lifeline to see if you are strong enough to pull it in or if you will let it drift away because you're too busy making jokes or being distracted. This is her way of revealing her interest while maintaining a safety net. If you don't react or if you prove to be shallow, she can retreat back into friendliness without ever having to face the sting of direct rejection. She is essentially opening a door to her inner world and waiting to see if you have the confidence to walk through it. When these moments happen, the atmosphere of the conversation changes. The energy becomes more focused, the eye contact lingers a second longer, and the topics become strangely personal. This is the testing phase of attraction. She isn't just sharing information, she is evaluating your reaction. Are you the kind of man who gets uncomfortable when things get real? Do you try to lighten the mood because you can't handle her intensity? Or do you remain rooted, looking her in the eye and showing her that you are a man who understands the unspoken language of desire? Most men miss these windows because they are too stuck in their own heads, worrying about what to say next, rather than realizing that she has already given them the keys to the kingdom. If you want to be the man who stands out from the crowd, you must learn to recognize these conversational pivot points. You need to realize that when she brings up the five specific topics we are about to discuss, she is handing you a golden ticket. She is silently screaming for you to pay attention, to lead, and to show her that you are the masculine anchor she's been searching for. She wants to be seen, but she only wants to be seen by a man who has the vision to look past the surface. By the time you finish understanding these five topics, you will never look at a conversation the same way again. You will stop hearing noise and start hearing the signals that most men are too blind to see. These are the five topics a woman only raises when her guard is down and her interest is at an all-time high. 1. The indirect future, the compatibility audit. When a woman begins to weave you into her future, she isn't always going to be obvious about it. She won't necessarily ask you to move in next month, but she will start slipping you into her long term vision through hypothetical scenarios and indirect comments. A woman who sees no future with you keeps her plans locked away in a private vault. She has no reason to invite you into her mental timeline. But when she's interested, she starts testing the waters to see if your paths are physically and lifestyle compatible. She might mention a country she's always wanted to visit with someone who actually appreciates adventure. Or she'll ask deep, probing questions about where you see yourself living in 5 years. This is a mental audit. She is checking to see if your ambitions, your location preferences, and your lifestyle choices align with hers. She is trying to see if there is a U shaped hole in her future, even if she isn't ready to say it out loud yet. The mistake most men make here is falling into one of two extremes. They either get spooked and shut the conversation down, or they get overly excited and start planning the honeymoon. Both reactions show a lack of emotional control. Your job is to stay completely grounded. When she brings up these future leaning topics, don't take the bait by becoming a yes man who agrees with everything she says just to please her. Instead, respond with the calm confidence of a man who already has a solid mission and a clear direction for his life. Show her that you are moving forward with or without her, but that you are open to exploring the journey together if the chemistry is right. By staying centered, you prove that you are an anchor, not a sail that gets blown around by her suggestions. You are showing her that while you find her intriguing, you aren't desperate for her validation, and that is exactly what makes you more attractive. 2. The emotional vault, the safety test. When a woman starts sharing her childhood memories, her secret fears, or stories she rarely tells anyone, she is handing you the keys to her emotional vault. This is a massive shift in the dynamic. Women are naturally protective of their inner world. They do not open up to men they don't trust or men they find boring. If she is sharing these vulnerable layers with you, she is performing a high level safety test. She wants to know if your masculine presence is strong enough to hold her emotions without you flinching, judging, or trying to take control. She isn't looking for a therapist or a fixer. She is looking for a witness, a man who can look her in the eye while she reveals her imperfections and remains completely unfazed. This is exactly where most men fail. They feel the need to jump in and solve her past problems or offer unsolicited advice, which immediately kills the mood because it makes her feel analyzed instead of understood. If you start trying to fix her, you are essentially telling her that her emotions are a problem to be solved rather than an experience to be shared. To pass this test, you must learn the art of active, silent presence. Listen without interrupting. Let the silence hang for a moment after she finishes speaking. Validate her feelings with a simple nod or a brief acknowledgement, but never try to solve her life. When you hold that space without flinching or getting uncomfortable, you prove that you are a man of high emotional intelligence. You show her that you can handle her complexity, and that creates a level of intimacy that surface level men can never reach. 3. Healed history, the maturity signal. There is a huge difference between a woman who vents about her crazy ex and a woman who discusses her past relationships with clarity and peace. When a woman brings up her history in a neutral, non bitter way, she is signaling that she is healed, secure, and, most importantly, interested in you. She isn't looking for pity or looking to trash talk another man. She is showing you her standards and what she has learned about herself. By sharing her healed history, she is essentially giving you the blueprint for how she wants to be treated and what she values in a partner. She is telling you that she is emotionally available and that she has the maturity to look at her past without letting it poison her present. The trap many men fall into here is the comparison trap. They start feeling insecure, wondering if they are better than the ex boyfriend, or they try to compete with a ghost. Never do this. If you start acting jealous or asking too many questions about her past, you project a massive lack of confidence. Instead, stay completely neutral. Treat her past like a closed book that you are simply acknowledging. A man who is unfazed by a woman's history is a man who knows his own value is superior. Use silence as your most powerful tool in these moments. Pause for a beat before responding to show that you are in total control of your reactions. This psychological contrast makes her lean in. When she sees that her past doesn't shake your frame, she realizes she has finally found a man who is secure enough to lead her in the present. 4. The mission audit. The evaluation of leadership when a woman starts digging into your goals, your career ambitions, or your long term vision, you need to wake up and realize this is not small talk. This is a mission audit. At her core, a woman is looking for a man who has a direction in life that is stronger than his desire for her. She is looking for leadership. She isn't just curious about your job title, she is evaluating your potential as a provider, a protector, and a partner. She wants to know what wakes you up in the morning and what you are willing to sacrifice for. Women only discuss the mission with men they actually admire. If she didn't respect you, she wouldn't care about your 5 year plan. By asking these questions, she is checking to see if you are a man of purpose or a man of excuses. She is trying to determine if you are a passenger in your own life or the captain of your ship. The mistake most men make here is trying too hard to impress her. They start selling themselves, embellishing their achievements, or talking in circles to sound more successful than they actually are. This reeks of insecurity. A man who is truly on a mission doesn't need to shout about it. He speaks with a direct, simple clarity because he knows that his results and his daily discipline do the heavy lifting for him. When she asks where you are going, tell her the truth with zero fluff. Don't seek her approval for your goals, just state them as facts. If you know exactly where you are headed, it creates a magnetic pull. She begins to wonder if there is room for her to follow you on that journey. When a woman sees a man who is unshakable in his purpose, she doesn't just feel attracted, she feels secure. Your mission becomes the foundation upon which she can build her trust. 5. The presence reflection, the peak of attachment. The most significant and undeniable sign of attraction occurs when a woman begins to discuss her own internal state in relation to you. This is the presence reflection. When she tells you that she feels safe with you, that your presence calms her down, or even that you make her nervous in a good way, she is revealing her attachment in real time. She is verbalizing the fact that you have successfully penetrated her emotional defenses. This is the peak of the mountain. At this stage, she is no longer testing your history or your goals. She is experiencing the direct effect of your masculine energy on her feminine soul. She is essentially handing you the steering wheel of the relationship and saying, "This is how much power you have over my emotions." This is the exact moment where most men lose the game. They get overly excited, they become mushy, or they start acting needy because they finally feel they've won. This sudden shift into nice guy mode kills the tension instantly. Your power in this moment lies in your ability to remain completely composed. When she tells you how much she likes being around you, do not lose your center. Accept the compliment with a smirk or a calm, "I know," and let her speak. Let her feel the full weight of her own vulnerability without you rushing in to say, "I feel the same way," 1,000 times. When a woman feels truly seen and heard by a man who remains rooted and unfazed by her intensity, her attraction deepens into a biological drive she can no longer control. You become the mountain, and she becomes the climber who never wants to leave. The conclusion: the power of the rooted man. You must understand that female attraction is rarely a loud, aggressive shout. It is a delicate whisper of vulnerability and a trail of breadcrumbs made of curiosity. Your job as a man is not to chase that whisper or try to force it into a scream through pressure and pursuit. Your true power is found in staying rooted in your purpose. You are the fixed point in the storm. While other men are frantic, trying to guess what she wants or pretending to be someone they aren't, you stand firm. You respond with presence instead of pressure. You listen more than you speak. And when you do speak, your words carry the weight of truth. Your value in her eyes grows every time you refuse to be shaken by her tests or her emotions. When you hold your frame and maintain your masculine edge, you create the psychological space for her to be feminine, vulnerable, and open. You don't have to convince her to like you. You simply have to be a man worth liking. When you are centered, confident, and mission driven, you don't have to pull her toward you. Her heart will move toward you naturally, like a compass needle pointing north. This is the secret of the high value man. He doesn't hunt for attraction. He becomes the environment where attraction is the only logical outcome. Stay grounded, stay observant, and let your presence do the talking.